right. Hi, good morning. Nice to have you with me today. I just love it when you tune in, and you may be watching live right now, or maybe you're going to be watching later on when you go and watch the video later on today or in the next couple of days, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to get the comment section open here so you can tell me whatever, good morning, who you are, and where you live. And there was one more thing I wanted to do. So I'm going to say a little hello, good morning. Good morning. Make sure that's working. All right. Well, I really am so glad that you've chosen to spend some time with me this morning. And maybe you like my topic of we need to be like water, not a rock. I'll go into that more as we get going. Want to make sure that you know that today I'm doing a virtual networking on my Zoom link, which is on the Fun Fearless page. And let's see here if I can get that for you real quickly. I'll have to check on that. But it's at noon Kansas City time, Central Time, and anyone can join us. So you can come on, share your business, who you are. We'll get to know each other, build some relationship, and it's a great time to get together. So I invite you to join me again today at noon Central Time. So if you are out there and want to say hello, that would be wonderful. So we are simulcasting, or we're at the same time on LinkedIn and Facebook, a couple of Facebook places. Yes, we do, Miss Kathy. He says we get to network with ladies all over the globe, and yes, we do, all over the world today. I love that because that is the cool thing about technology. The fact that we can talk to somebody in Australia or England or wherever, Germany, Canada, and all over the United States at the same time. So it's a great time to be together. It's a great time to be alive. I'm just going to put a little thing in there. Sometimes we hear all the stuff going on and the negativity and how bad inflation is and how high grocery prices are. And that all is true. I'm not discounting the fact that that is, but it is how we look at it and how we choose to, live our lives with that right now at this moment. I guess the only way that we can possibly make change on the big picture is through voting. So when it comes time to vote, no matter what side you're on, I want to encourage you to do that. Everybody needs to vote and pay attention. Watch and see what's going on in the background. Don't just read the headlines. Go back and do a little bit of research. That's how we can make more permanent, well, sort of permanent change, because I'm talking today a little bit about, the only consistent thing that we have is change. It's always going to change. We're in this constant influx, I guess, of changing all the time, the ebb and the flow and the what's going on. And so we just have to be able to adapt to that. And the other thing is, so we have that meeting, and then be keeping watch out for the announcements when you get to watch the interviews that I'm doing on the Let's Chat, the Faith Talk interviews, so that you can learn about these other amazing women that I'm interviewing. Matter of fact, I'm deciding, I think I'm going to open it up because there's a few men out there that I know who are just powerful leaders, strong men of faith that I'm going to interview as well. So these will be interviews of men and women, mostly women, because that's who I surround myself with, Fun Fearless Female, and the friends and all of that are females. So those are mostly who I'll be interviewing, but I will be doing a few men along the way. So be watching for that as well. All right. So John Maxwell says he wrote a book called Leader Shift, and it's really excellent. So if you are a leader and you haven't read that yet, you might want to take a look at that. It's really good. And what John Maxwell says is that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And I think that really is true, because I know that here's the thing. We are all leaders, every one of us. You are a leader. I'm a leader. Kathy's a leader. She's on, so she's checked in. I can use her name over there. But we're all leaders in some way or another, because we all have influence. And hi, Sherry. Good morning. So we all have influence of some kind. So you may be thinking, if you are a mom who's able to be at home, a mom at home, raising your kids, you are a leader in your house, because you have influence over those children, over your with your husband. Your single mom is mainly your obviously your children, but even in families, like in many cases. So in my family, it switches. Most of the time, I'm the leader. It happens to be, well, my mother is the leader, and she'll be happy to tell you that. She's the mother and she rules. But when it comes to some of the other parts of it, don't you agree that in your life there's just different flexing that you do? And that's a big point of what I'm talking about today. We really have to be able to flex. And that's where, and John Maxwell's the one who said we need to be like water. I added, not a rock. So if you think about it, water. Oh, hi, Andrea. Good morning. I am so glad to see you here. If you think about water, insurance people would tell you for sure it is like so damaging. You can have a leak in your root. The ceiling in your kitchen may be leaking, right? The water comes through and your ceiling is leaking, but it could be coming from a big rainstorm that had a tile loose on the totally opposite side of the house. This just worked its way through and it winds up coming through in your kitchen. Or there could be a leak in the bathtub. And oftentimes it would be like if you have a 2-story and you have a bathtub upstairs, or the shower could be leaking through right where that is. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it follows out and seeps through and comes and shows up in a different place. Water finds its way, period. Water will find its way out. It will move and shift and twist and turn and go over and under and around. And if we are like water, and as influencers, as followers, leaders, then we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to be flexible with what life is offering us and what's happening. We've seen that so powerfully in the last 4 years with the whole pandemic thing, and how many shifts that we've had to make mentally and physically. Oftentimes people have they've moved, or they've changed jobs, or they're doing things totally different. And I would venture to say, I can't even imagine that there would be one person in this world who hasn't had to make a few shifts, make some changes, had to adapt to this new world that we're living in. Looking at just the economy alone has made a shift in how we, our purchase power, how we spend our money. What do we spend it on? So as women, as leaders, we just have to be that way. And the reason I said it's not a rock is because if you want to try to dig your heels in and just be a big rock where nothing can bother you, you're just going to be that water around you is going to just break it down. You watch cliffs and rocks, things that are around water all the time in a lake, or not so much in a lake, but in a river that flows, or the ocean. The water will finally break down. If you're going to be that rock, all of that's going around you is finally going to break it down. It might be a slow process. Whereas if you'll just be the water yourself and flow and make those changes. And sometimes I actually just love this illustration. Can you tell? I just think it's so great, because we could be the nice, calm river, right? The water that's just calm. It's not going to stay that way for long, but we can enjoy that when we're just in that place in life where we're just enjoying, and we're still flowing, we're still moving. But then there's those times when we're gearing up and the water's going to move fast, and there's some rapids even coming down in the water, when maybe you're doing a new kickoff for some special project, or you're changing jobs and you have to kick in and redefine yourself or learn some new skills. And sometimes it takes that. And as leaders, as influencers, and I'm using that word leader, because I want you all to begin to believe, if you don't already, that you are a leader somewhere in some way. You are a leader within the groups that you do, your families, your business, your church, your nonprofit charities that you're working with or supporting. In those ways, you are a leader. And we've talked about before how people are always watching you. They are watching how you live your life. Not so much what you say, but they are watching what we do. And leaders always need to be out in front. Hi, Karen. Good morning. We need to be watching ahead. Like, what's the next thing that's going to happen? Now, I'm going to say, and I don't know what all your opinion is, but of course, I'll give you mine. So, and then you can decide if you agree with me or not, and that's okay. I mean, that's what's really okay. You know, AI is changing our world. You know, AI is going to make a difference, and if you just pretend like it's not there, you just pretend like you're just going to ignore it, you're not going to get involved with it, um, then you're going to be left behind. Because in almost all kind of situations in businesses and how the world is evolving and changing and opportunities are there, you don't have to let AI rule you, but you can also take advantage and use it to a point that can benefit you and your business. I've been experimenting with it, I've been doing some, and it's pretty amazing. And also, there's different types of AI out there. I am using, yeah, most everybody's Chat GPT, right? Well, it is a more liberal. This is my opinion and my perspective. Okay, so there's no, you know, no ironclad thing. This is just my personal opinion. But it is kind of the ruler out there, and it is a more liberal. So as you ask it questions, as you ask it to maybe clarify something that you're writing, it's going to do it from a little bit more of a liberal side. I am preferring Gab.ai. Gab is coming from Gab, which is a more conservative side. It's a social networking thing that's more geared to the more conservative side. And when I put things in there to help, you know, I'm writing I don't know, a Facebook post. I don't do that too much, but I'm doing some other writing. And so I'll put my thoughts in there. And it does seem to totally understand my perspective and where I'm coming in. And it stays really right in alignment. So I use it, but then, you know, I change it to my voice, but I see the ideas that I have. Sometimes I ask for a list of things and it'll give me a whole list and I'll decide which ones I like and which ones I don't. So I think how we use things and what the purpose of it is, just know that it is here to stay. It's not going anywhere and we get to control these. Y'all, these are our choices. And as leaders, all of us, how we want to use the tools that are presented before us. One of the tools that you know, of course, when before the pandemic, things were, you know, I think people use Skype more. I never really got Skype. I don't know. I never really liked it, but I did like Zoom. So I still use Zoom and I really love that platform. So when pandemic hit, several of us, including Kathy, I don't know about the others, you know, we were doing Zoom before that all hit. So it was a very easy transition for us as the pandemic hit and things shut down, that we already had that sort of in place. We just grew it. You know, we grew with that and we continue to do it. Like today, when we do our other, like we're doing, you know, using technology right now, but also, you know, today at noon, when I was talking about, we're going to have our networking gathering at noon today, and it'll be on Zoom. So as we've learned to use it, and you can use it all day long, you can use it in the nighttime if you have people in different countries. So it's always, I think we have to be flexible. We have to, you know, do that flow with the water, shift with things as they're happening, and always be learning new ways of doing things, being open to the change. Because y'all, as soon as we close down and we don't want to, it's like, okay, I'm tired of changing. You go into that mindset. I'm tired of changing. I don't want to shift anymore. I don't want to be flexible. Well, you're going to get left behind. You know, it's just that way. Our world is changing so fast, and leaders need to change with that. We need to be able to be forward seeking, you know, learn from the past, but always be looking forward. And what new ways can we do things? Maybe we just need to tweak something. And it's also a time when, as leaders, influencers, that we need to pay attention to the things that, you know, what are we doing that's working? Great. Do we need to tweak it, make it better? Is what we're doing, we've been doing it so long and maybe it's not really as powerful or maybe it's not really working. We have to be able to look at that and release it if that time is gone. I think, we've talked about friendship. Sometimes we have friends for, for a moment, some for a season, and then some for life. Well, there's some of these things that we're doing in our business or in our families, whatever that looks like, that sometimes it's just for a season. It was really great during that one particular time, but maybe now it's time to release that so that you have the energy and the time and the mental capacity. Sometimes those things are taking so much energy and so much time that it doesn't leave you open to step into something new and looking at that. And I think that's part of our growth pattern. Leaders need to constantly be uh, growing and learning and being open to trying new things. Be a little bit of a risk taker. Don't be afraid to adapt a little bit. And I think some people look at the word adapt and think, that means that you're conforming. But no, 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 no. It's totally, totally different. Sometimes we need to adapt to things, but that is not the same thing as conforming. And when it comes to your principles, when it comes to your faith, those are not going to change. But how we do them or the way that we influence others changes so we can be more effective. Does that make sense? So y'all could make some little comments over here. That's okay. Good leaders, as I said, they don't stay static because the world does not. The world doesn't stay static. If nothing changed in the world, I guess we could stay the same, but we know that that's never going to be the case in the way that it can be. So we want to make those shifts that will positively, influence, positively make other people better, make our organization better. We don't want to conform and we don't want to, um, do the negative side. We want to really be open to making positive changes that make positive difference to the people around us. Um, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas that John Maxwell put it in his book, which, like I said, it's really an excellent book. So he said there are 7 things to be successful in leader shifting. Okay, so I love that play on the words that he did there. It's so, so true about being leader shift instead of leadership. So remember, you are a leader. So whether, again, it's your family. I've just heard so many women say, well, I'm not a leader and I can't do this. And a few months ago, we actually, Kathy, I just like, so true. Kathy said, I'm going to put this up on the thing. It says, she says, I'm flexible as long as you don't change anything. So that doesn't last very long because things change all the time. And one of the things that I've found over the years is somewhere probably in the last 10 years, maybe longer than that, I decided that I was no longer going to resist change, that I was going to embrace it because I believe that more blessings are out there. God has more for us if we are willing to change, if we're willing to be flexible. And again, I'm not talking about your principles. I'm just talking about how we deal with life, our day-to-day choices on things, trying new things, growing and learning. And if we're willing to do that, then he can use us better. He wants to mold us, but he's not going to mold a rock, being flexible like clay. We've been talking about water. We're flexible. God can use us better. An example I heard one time a number of years ago was that God can move. God can move a moving car easier than one that's parked. And so, if we're just going with the flow here and just let God move us down and where He wants us to go and staying in that mindset, with Him. So, I'm going to go back over here to John Maxwell, and here are his 7 things. And the first one is continually learn, unlearn, and relearn. Being open to, there may be some things that you just continue to do that you just need to unlearn. Just stop them and quit. And then there's some that we just need to learn a new way of doing things, being open to that possibility. The second one is value yesterday, but live in today. And we all know people that are so stuck on the past and where they've come from and what's happened to them that they are not even living today, much less looking to the future. So that's really important. And I think also, we can learn from those things in the past, but dwelling there is not a healthy place to stay. Um, one of the examples is that Babe Ruth, yesterday's home run doesn't win today's game. You just can't live on, I got a hole in one, but that doesn't help today's game that you're playing. The golfers that if y'all are into golf at all, that's a good one on that. To as leaders to rely on speed but thrive on timing, and this is where so important. And as believers, we believe in God's timing, so if we will be open to that and trust that God's timing is the perfect timing. So when do we need to give a little pep talk? When is it right to launch a new product? When is it time to retire or to release something that's already been, it's already seen its best days? When to hold them and when to fold them, just like that song. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Anyway, I just think it's a cool song. All right, number 4 is see the big picture as the picture keeps getting bigger, not smaller. Don't let your vision just fade away. The big picture of your life. What is it that you want? What goals or what dreams are you going for? And then it just keeps getting bigger. You're getting closer and closer and closer to it. And then it's going to finally be complete. And that's so exciting that if you don't make some changes along the way, if you're not willing to flex and adapt, you may never see that big picture. So be open to that, but keep your vision in place. The scripture tells us where the vision fades, the people perish. So we need a vision. So, and there's many areas of your life that you can look at your vision for your family or a vision for the year. What do you want? Are you success in your business? All of those things. The number 5 is living today. And the other one's leave the past behind, but this one is living today, but think about tomorrow. What do you need and want? And who do you need to gather around you? As you're building your team. Your team is your people in your life, y'all. So it could be a team in your business, but who's on your team? Who are your supporters? Who are those people in your family and your friends that you come together with, that you all support each other? Could be in your church. Just looking in your life. And exercise I've had y'all do multiple times because I think it's so important. Make a list of the top 10 people in your life that you spend time with. And how many of those are your cheerleaders? Make sure you're building a team and bringing people around you that support you and that you support, and you uplift each other and makes your life so much happier, full of so much more joy when you do that. And if you're open to it, and when you're staying in, letting the Lord guide your life, He will bring those people to your life to make a difference. And again, sometimes they're not there for life, but if He brings them into your life now, enjoy it and support them and be part of that process that God's bringing to you. So thinking about tomorrow, the illustration they use here is one Lisa and I talked about a couple of weeks ago. And of course, I do not remember the name. It was like some word, I can't remember. So it's like you want to buy a blue car and you're looking for blue cars, or you're thinking about blue cars. And then for the next week or so, you just notice all of a sudden you're seeing blue cars everywhere. That thing that once you put it in your mind. So that's also part of the word of intention, why we do that at the beginning of every year. Mine this year is bold, and everything that I do, I'm trying to do in a bold manner, to be more bold in everything, more bold in my spiritual life, more bold in my business, all of those things. So your word of intention is that whatever you think about, and whatever you think about, you bring about. Scripture says, so a man thinketh, so he is. So bringing that, and that living in today, but looking towards your dream and what's coming up, and living tomorrow. Number 6 is move forward courageously, even in the midst of uncertainty. Life will expand, and I love this. He says, life expands or shrinks in proportion to your courage. So being active, moving forward, taking those risks, y'all. And I know everybody hears the word risk, and so many think, oh, no, I'm not going to take any risks. And the reason is because we're fearful. We don't know what's on the other side. We're uncomfortable. It makes us uncomfortable to try something new. Now, you can't try every new thing that comes around the corner. I get that. But really looking at it, pray for discernment and wisdom as you're going through, and then just do it. Put your feet in the water. When the Israelites crossed into the promised land, the Jordan River, I guess, was at high tide, and it was so deep and so fast. But the Lord told the priest, before the people could pass over, the priest had to put their feet in the water. It was only when they put their feet in the water. And I'll tell you, that is how God works with me every single time. He has never, that I can recall, opened the waters first. It's always put my feet in the water and just trust. Take that step of faith. You've prayed about it, you're looking at it, you feel like you're making this decision, but don't just live there. Just finally take a darn step. So put your foot in the water. And then for me, once I put my foot in the water, peace just overflows all over me. I could just feel the wave of peace coming over. When I decided to retire myself or leave Mary Kay as a director, it was such a difficult decision. It was one of the hardest decisions that I've had to make. And I just, I knew it was coming, and I struggled with it for months, and I talked to several people to get advice from others. And finally, I made that decision. I can still, like this very minute, I can feel and know right where I was. I was in my kitchen in Las Vegas, and I was sitting there. The sun was coming in the windows, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to release it. I'm going to make that phone call. And y'all, in that moment, I was just washed over in peace. Just the peace of the Spirit, knowing that that was the right decision. And I did. I picked up the call and I called Mary Kay and said, this is it. So whatever that is, and yours might be different, but when you make those decisions, when you've researched it and you've looked at it, I'm not saying, oh, somebody gives you an idea today and you just jump. That might not be right. But when you're doing, don't just continue to live in that uncertainty, but put your foot in the water, make the decision, and what happens to you. Watch yourself, and see what that looks like for you. Like I said, for me, it's peace. And when we do that, when we release the things that we're supposed to, then we're open to those new things, those new advances, those new ideas, those new blessings that God has for us. So be courageous, be bold and courageous in the midst of whatever's going on, the chaos, whatever's going on in the world, the elections, the economy. Do in your heart what you know is right, what you want to do, that's based on how, how God is leading you. And then the seventh one here is realize today's best will not meet tomorrow's challenges. So all we can do is the best we can do today, but that looking forward, that being ready to make change, being flowing with what's going on, being aware of what's happening, be aware of AI. Don't be afraid of it. Use the tools, how it can best help you. Find the best one that can work for you and just try it a little bit. Because it's going to be part of all business and going to be part of our world from now on. It's not going away. So we need to learn how to basically control it ourselves and in our own life, make the choices that work best for you. And there's probably I know that there's some other things out there as well that I could use as examples. That just happens to be the one that I, was really thinking about this morning before I got on the call. So let's see, I'm going to go over here to the comments. Andrea, great topic. My mantra is the day I quit learning, start shoveling the dirt over me. That's a good one because that's the truth. And I think that is for all of us. We've just seen it in other people, right? Y'all wouldn't be on here right now. Y'all are here because you're not sleepwalking through your life. You are aware and you want to make change and you want to connect with people. And I so appreciate it. I just love the fact that y'all are on here today. And hi, Paulette. Nice to have you here. So as we continue, so just remember always, and here's the thing too. I think all of you, oftentimes I feel like I'm talking to the choir here. Y'all already know all this stuff. And it's a repetition and an affirmation, right? But here's the thing. People in your life. You've heard other women say, it could be somebody in your family that says, I don't have any skills. I don't have any talents to share with the world, or I'm not a leader. But the truth is, let them know they are, because maybe they just never thought about it. Maybe they never realized that they do have influence. They have influence on their children and their husbands and on their sisters and their brothers. And, and we can make a change and a choice over how much influence we want. Do we want to step into a little bit more of a leadership position? What is it that you believe that you really want to share with the world? You have a message. Everybody has a message, and every woman has a voice. But sometimes she needs somebody to come alongside her and help her see that and help her understand that she does have a voice. And someone said, it's not, this is nothing new, but, turn your mess into your message. Some people come from have such heartbreaking things in their background or in their past, or they just feel like they're such a mess. They've made such bad choices throughout their life. But the truth is, take that mess and turn it into a message. What have you learned? What has God done? How has He been faithful? So that then now you can share that with others. We can share. Being a leader can be with one person, and maybe this person you're a leader with, but then you have a mentor, and they're the leader for you. But in some way, in some areas, so maybe your message right now is that to help somebody else get that message. Just let them know that they do have a choice, that they do have something they can share with the world. That, of course, is my mission. Y'all know that is to help every woman find her voice and realize how amazing she is. That as a child of God, we have the world. The Lord has given us so many blessings and given us so many choices and given us so much talent to share with the world. It's all about sharing with the world and building the kingdom. So as leaders, we can do that. So, think to a couple of questions just to think to yourself, learn something new. When was the last time that you learned something for the first time, something brand new? Try something different. When was the last time you tried something totally different? I'm thinking probably the first time I did the AI in the last 3 or 4 months when I started doing that. That was my something new. It's like, okay, I'm hearing about all this stuff. I got to figure out what this is. And I think at that time, the reason I went to Gab is because I think I got an email that says, try the Gab AI. And so I did. And so, what is it you want to try for the first time? It is the coolest thing. So one of the things you can do, okay, it's not going to change your life. Well, it could, I guess, could change it for the better. So if you, like, for instance, I am so intent about words and titles and names of things. So I put some thoughts together into the AI and said, what is a good title for this? I think I was working on a speech. Said, here's what I'm saying in the speech. And I even actually copied part of the speech and I put it in there. What's a good title for this? Or give me an outline that would include these items. And it'll do it, y'all. And it does it like in not even a minute, does it so fast. So it's an amazing tool that we can use. Just use it wisely, and don't just copy it and put it someplace without looking it over. It could give you a quote that's wrong. It could give you a statistic that's wrong. It's not God. Okay. It's not God. It's just computers taking all this information out there and pulling it together and gives you an idea, so then you can use it or not, or change it to how you would say it. It might give you a couple of lines and it's like, well, that just sounds too stifling. I can't use that. So anyway, so that was probably mine. So learn something new. When was the last time you learned something new? When was the last time that you did something for the first time? And find something better. When was the last time you found something better than what you were doing? So good questions for you to ask as we're going through this week. All right. Any last comments any of y'all would like to make? So glad that you, again, are here. We are at the top of the hours and like a minute over. Thank you so much. Join me at noon and then I can hear back from you. I love when we're doing the virtual networking because you guys get to talk to me and I get to hear you. It doesn't have to be about me just talking all the time. All right. I love you. I thank you so much that you're here and that you've joined us, and be blessed indeed. Remember that life's not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. Choose wisely and go out and just be the great leader that God created you to be. Bye now. Thanks so much. Have a blessed day. Bless you indeed.